Welcome back to your favorite podcast, A Couple Pints Pod. We are back in Studio 7. Dan is here with me. We have corrected the Stella issue. And there's one more surprise for you, and it is Kollin's back, kind of. He'll be in one of the corners or maybe in between. He'll be somewhere on the screen, but he's here for this episode, and he's back with his crazy conspiracies. So, Kollin, you want to tell us what we're talking about?
Well, yeah, I found this little ditty. Let me pull it up. Oh, where'd it go? I just had you up. There you are. Found a little ditty scrolling through Instagram the other day, and we are going to dive into the Alice P. Lennon telescope that is funded and operated by our very own Vatican.
Well, it's not our Vatican. I'm not Catholic. Are you Catholic?
I'm Catholic, yeah.
Oh, so Dan's Vatican. Well, I guess yours too.
Yeah, for the most part.
So anyway, there's this telescope. I actually did my research this week too. New update. There's this telescope in Arizona that's for some reason owned and operated by the Vatican, as Kollin said. And do you want to tell them the rest of the theory, and then I'll immediately debunk it because I did some research today?
So the one video I sent JMac was this telescope that had the nickname Lucy. And of course, I had read through that, didn't find much at all to back up what video we were watching. So I kept digging through, and there is one telescope that JMac's talking about in Arizona that has its hub or control station is based out of Italy, which is why the Vatican runs it. They can, in my opinion, they can release whatever information they want from it. They can tell us whatever findings they deem fit, and everything else they can store and keep internal and maybe put into that library they have that no one's allowed to enter.
As they do. What do you think about this this episode could be, we're 2 minutes in, this could be a 3-minute episode, but we're going to stretch it out. So what do you think?
I think the Vatican is involved, and they're
definitely involved.
They're spewing out lies about, I don't know,
the final frontier,
about God, and maybe they're trying to like connect to God somehow with this telescope, but I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. I didn't do that much research on it because when you guys were sending me all those messages, I was on a date last night, so I was like looking at my phone. I was like looking back and forth, like, oh, this is cool, and I watched a bit of that video. But yeah, what are you gonna add? Like, so you debunked it? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I immediately debunked it. So the video Kollin sent was the Vatican owns a telescope, Lucy, but up until 2010, it was called LUCIFER, and LUCIFER stood for like long range electromagnetic, whatever. Every letter stood for something. It spelled out Lucifer. So the internet lost their fucking mind because they're like, holy shit, the Vatican owns a telescope named Lucifer, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, people were losing it.
Yeah. So I looked into it, and it turns out the Vatican does own a telescope on the side of this mountain, and right next to it is a telescope owned by, it's all on my phone, I don't want to look for it, some university, and they named their telescope Lucifer as like a gag because they're right next to the Vatican telescope. But here's where Kollin can chime in. As I dug deeper into the Vatican telescope outside of the Lucifer telescope, the Vatican telescope originated in like the 1800s or 1600s, one of those. And they were looking for God. They were looking for heaven, which was controversial because then they're like attacking astronomers like Galileo and shit and persecuting these people for because like faith is over science in all their minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in like the 60s or the 80s, my 6 and 8s are all fucked up today apparently. They bought this observatory in Arizona because it's so dark and shit out there. And originally they're like, the technology's better, we're gonna find God. But nowadays, as of like 2019, this new hip pope was like, no, we're the guy who said being gay was cool, which was like
Pope
a
Francis?
whole Pope Francis, which was like a whole nother thing. He was like, no, we're trying to combine science and faith, and we're hoping that we can discover things in space to make ourselves more relatable, basically, is what it is.
So they're not looking for God anymore.
Not anymore, which is also, that's a whole conspiracy in itself. So is the Catholic Church officially saying there is no God? I should edit in an SVU. Ba-bum.
Bum-bum.
All right, what, Colin?
Bum, bum, bum. I mean, why wouldn't they just go work with CERN for a little bit? Because didn't CERN find the quote-unquote God particle?
Yeah, my friend worked on that.
Wait, what the fuck is
Yeah.
that?
My friend worked on the Higgs boson in college. That was their
boson, brother.
Internship. It was working on the Hadron Collider, and like working with the God particle and stuff in at CERN in Geneva. Yeah.
And the Hadron Collider, we've talked about at length on this podcast.
Why are they taking their talents to South Beach trying to do it on their own when they can? Someone's already putting the stepping stones in front of them. Like, hey, we found the particle, we found the fusion, we found the impact that is needed to create stuff like this. So come with us, start from the bottom, work your way up, and maybe you'll have a better lead to find God or the edge of the universe where heaven might be.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
The other thing is, which was the one thing that kind of raised, not alarms, but made my spidey sense tingle, was that original Vatican telescope that I was talking about is still there, and they've been making constant upgrades to it. So, like, what's with this random one next to this other one named Lucifer in the desert in Arizona? And at this point, originally they were also partnered with NASA, and now NASA's like, we got other shit to handle.
NASA has like no funding now. I think that's the whole thing.
Well, that's the other thing.
Like, no money.
So basically, like, why are they still in the Arizona desert if they have it in the Vatican, and then this whole Higgs boson, dude, and the Geneva thing is in Europe already?
Why don't you tell me?
Exactly.
Well, the telescope's different than the collider, because the collider is a particle.
But I'm saying they have an observatory at the Vatican already.
Yeah, and then they have this one in Arizona as well.
And they have this one in Arizona as well. Then I was tying in what you and Kollin were talking about, which is Higgs boson, dude. And the work with that and the God particle and all that shit. But I just don't understand, one, why they would even get involved in this, because notoriously religion hates science.
Except for the Jesuits. The Jesuits like science.
I know. Well, I've heard it. What's a Jesuit?
They're like science and faith are intermingled with each other. Fordham is a Jesuit school. It's like a different type of Catholicism. And they're like pro-science.
Why am I doing that with my hand?
And like pro-faith.
God damn it.
But I think maybe they're doing this because they want to spy on the Mormons, maybe, right? Isn't Arizona next to Utah, right?
Yeah, they touch.
Maybe, and they're like...
Do they touch? No, they don't touch. Because Arizona is Cali and Nevada.
Oh, okay. So, and then where's Utah?
Right next to Nevada, above New Mexico. So they're close enough.
So close enough. So the telescope is probably powerful enough to probably spy on them for a bit.
Bro, that's a whole new conspiracy.
Maybe they're looking over at them because the Mormons believe that there's going to be a second coming of Christ in Utah, right? In Salt Lake City. Yeah, so maybe they're like, they have the telescope pointed at Salt Lake City, and they're like, all right, maybe we do kind of believe you that he is going to come here.
Bro, that's so much funnier if fucking Lucifer is just a psyop to spy on the Mormons to see if they're correct. Good job.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like, all right, maybe these guys have something going for them.
Call, when you lean too far out of frame, your whole body goes fuzzy and you look like one of those.
Oh,
I wonder if I could put a voice filter on him so it's like,
yeah. Yeah.
So let's get into why we're even talking about this. What exactly jazzed you up about this whole thing?
What jazzed me up is the thought of, like you mentioned earlier, the church starting to phase themselves out of this blind faith belief with all of the old scripts, all the old knowledge, and
Which is also very anti-science because it's like, we're right, fuck everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
there were holy wars based on faith, and you're just going to now gently push that to the wayside and say, well, maybe science can, boost us up a bit. It makes you wonder, are they looking out into the universe to see, like, what? Well, what are you going to find? How far is that telescope going to take you? When clearly, if your faith and all of your past knowledge is placed on the table, it claims that God is this invisible force that is above all universe, all understanding. He does not have any ties into time, into space itself. He's this very own all-creating entity. So how are you going to find that? What kind of knowledge are you going to get from looking to further your claims? You're just going to find a bunch of other solar systems, a bunch of other planets, a bunch of other stars, suns, moons, and it almost seems as going into this new age that we're entering, where information is abundant and no one can really tell what's true and what's not true anymore, that they might start to make some new claims.
That would be interesting. Also, you said something about faiths, or not, Jesus Christ, suns and other planets and this shit, which, let's hypothetically say the Vatican telescope was the telescope that finds another planet with life. That completely dispels Christianity. Because their whole thing is Earth is God's miracle.
Yeah.
So maybe in that library you were talking about in the first couple minutes is the answer that like Elon Musk and NASA are looking for, but the
Oh no, what's happening? Running out of time.
oh no, Kollin, we're running out of time.
No.
But the church hid it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, they hid something. Yeah, that's good.
That's crazy.
That they maybe have found
Because
it.
they've been looking at the sky since the 1800s. Who knows what the fuck they found?
Yeah, if you're able to have a whole library
also
worth of information,
if
you
the
don't
fucking
have to disclose.
If the fucking Catholic Church can find a twin planet for Earth before NASA and SpaceX can, like, what are we?
Wild.
what's the goal here,
Yeah, they want to keep it from the public. Do you think they've definitely found some information?
But I'm saying
don't
maybe
know
they're
about.
keeping it from these other well, SpaceX is privately owned, but these agencies that are also seeking the same destination that they claim to be working hand in hand with.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they're just like, nah, we have the answers, but no, because then
Monopoly on it.
Because then I feel like they would twist it in some way to be like, see, we were right the whole time.
Yeah.
Christianity's so dark and messed up.
Dude, I've been watching a lot of tinfoil hat. And Sam Tripoli's been recently doing a deep dive into reading all the different testaments and old text.
Do you know Sam Tripoli?
No, who's that?
He's
A conspiracy comedian.
Oh.
but he's like
He's crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
he's
I call him and Alex Jones Collin's real dads.
But anyway, you were saying, Colin, about the tinfoil hat guy.
he every Old Testament has some sort of mention to the fallen or the Nephilim. And his, now I wouldn't say expert opinion, but the opinion he's starting to reach is all of those fallen and Nephilim were demigods pretty much, had the ability to either leave or somehow, like we've talked about in past episodes, turn into different forms of energy beings and travel to who knows where. So if the Vatican has a spot in Italy that is completely out of our jurisdiction, that has the capability to do those deep looks into space, who's not to say they're trying to find more claims to build up? Oh yeah, no, they're the Great Flood, all of these natural disasters that pretty much wiped the world clean back then. That was just us, or God per se, wiping the slate clean because he wasn't happy with where things are going, and creating a new baseline of his creation, a new beginning, new start, everything's fresh. And if they're able to find anything on that, I feel like that would be one thing they would never disclose until they had a whole Webster's dictionary book full of facts.
Or they would just never say anything about it. Right?
About what, like God interfering or something? Or
No, I'm saying if they discovered all this shit by looking into space.
yeah.
Like I was saying about the twin planet thing that everyone's looking for now because the world's dying and everything's going to shit, they wouldn't fucking say anything.
Yeah, it would disprove their beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they think is the ultimate truth.
That the world, or our world, is the center of the universe, or it's God's
That
creation.
and God's creation, and the only place life can ever exist is where we are, and all this other shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think there's a twin planet?
Yeah, we've already found a bunch of them.
I mean,
They're just too far away.
They're just too far away.
Too far away.
Damn.
Shouts out the dwarf auctioneers in Ironforge in World of Warcraft when you try and interact with them. You're too far away.
How long ago did people start making that claim that when CERN was activated, it collapsed the known reality we're in,
Have you
and
heard
then
about
pushed
this?
us alternate reality that apparently we're living in now?
I haven't heard about this. What is this?
So we did an episode on this. Apparently, when the Higgs boson dude was powered on and they found the God particle,
Yeah.
that was like 2012, like the apocalypse, but no one noticed because it sent us all to a different reality.
That'd been kind of cool.
And our whole episode was everything kind of went to shit when they turned that thing on.
Was it the day that like the world was supposed to end? They turned it on. Like
No,
that
no,
movie, like
just-
2012.
That was just a comparison. I think it
Oh.
was like 2008 or 10 or something.
Okay. Yeah. It could be. That'd be awesome if that actually happened. If we got sent to an alternate
Welcome
reality.
to Couple Pints Pod, dude.
Because if we did slip into an alternate reality, that might explain, not really explain, but add to why the church is, I'd say, slowly stepping their way back from God is all, God is only, nothing else exists outside of what he created. Because I forget the name of them, but people always talk about these sort of entities that are able to slip through realities and alter different. We did a whole episode on it. Why can't I remember the name of it?
I also love that Kollin says people always talk about this as if
It's an old.
either of us know what he's talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we tied them in. Yeah, that was all the same episode.
With the alternate reality.
Was
Because that
like
is an alternate
they-
reality, right? The Mandela effect.
So the
Or-
Mandela effect is like everyone. It's called the Mandela effect because everyone remembers Nelson Mandela dying in prison, even though that didn't happen.
No, he became president of South Africa.
Yeah. But then, like, people applied it to, like, Berenstain Bears, but it's really
Yeah.
the Berenstain Bear. There's a whole bunch of them. But Kollin, I think, is suggesting that the Mandela effect we're actually living in because when they turned the Higgs boson, dude, on, it sent us somewhere else. So now the Catholic Church is like, yo, all that shit you think you remember? Mandela effect, dog.
Not
Being
real,
gay's
bro.
okay. Fucking, we own a telescope. Fucking Higgs boson, dude.
Fuck, God's real.
God's still real though. God is still real. He's here. Jesus actually did die for our sins, but all the rest of the shit we said,
Dude.
old news, brother.
God's not dead. He's surely alive. Have you guys seen that movie?
My dad loved that movie, which made me refuse to watch it.
It's I've never seen it, but I know the ending to it because my friends have seen it.
Spoiler alert.
It's really bad. The movie's really bad. I don't want to watch it because it looks really stupid, and Kevin Sorbo's in it, which is really funny. But it's supposed to be that I think the ending is there's an atheist professor, and then Kevin Sorbo's like the Christian professor who believes in God, and the atheist professor is like, no, God doesn't exist. He's dead, or we killed him, or something. And then at the end, like Kevin Sorbo, I don't know how he says that God's real, but God's real. And then the atheist dude gets like divorced from his wife, and then gets run over by a bus. And then that's it. And that's the end of the movie, I think.
God's not dead. This God-fearing fuck is dead.
Yeah, exactly. This sinner is fucking
Or not
dead.
God-fearing, because sinner, because
This-
God-fearing is like a faithful.
This doubter's
Oh,
fucking
Kyle,
dead.
you're about to get disconnected from us. Should we just reset? We got 7 minutes until we hit half an hour.
Yeah, if that works. I mean, I could give some closing arguments and then, well, not closing arguments, closing thoughts, because I gotta get back to moving and grooving pretty soon.
All right.
Okay, at this point, you probably have like 10 seconds. Go.
I love you all. I missed you all. This is the most amazing podcast of the whole entire world.
No.
Okay, so we'll keep going.
No.
Let's just
No.
because I got that. Colin, no.
No.
Because I got that thing I was talking about earlier to go to.
What time is it now? 6. Oh, it's 6:13.
6 something. But yeah. So that was Colin,
Nice to meet you, Colin.
and yeah, I don't know. All the research I did on it, which was while I was eating lunch today, which is probably like an hour's worth of just quick Googles, clicking like NPR, the things I trust.
Mm-hmm.
And all those articles were like, no, they own a telescope next to this telescope that this group of nerds named Lucifer just to fuck with the church. And then also, I didn't mention, so many Catholics got upset about that they made these dudes rename it to Lucy.
Oh, that's why it got renamed.
Yeah. But
Lucifer's cool though, because like the devil has to. If God exists, the devil has to exist.
Well, also Lucifer is, I'm pretty sure another thing I read was like the bringer of light, which also makes sense because the only reason a telescope works is because light is reflecting off a mirror into your fucking eyeball. But all the trusted articles I read said that. Then I found this one article. Kollin says, that just lit a fire under my ass. Fuck, I missed that. Shouts out Call, dude. We miss you too. We love you.
Shout out.
I love Kollin, dude. That's my best friend, dude. Fucking love Kollin. Anyway, this website.
Is he a Long Island boy?
No, Syracuse boy.
Syracuse
That's
boy.
where he is right now. Where's my own? I hate this Slack update, dude. Okay. So then I found this article on CatholicAnswers.com. And the title of the article is Relax, the Vatican didn't name a telescope Lucifer, which would be so cool if they did. I would respect them a little more.
Yeah, that's cool.
The Vatican did not name a telescope Lucifer. The Vatican Observatory shares space, no pun intended. Thank you. With other organizations and groups. The Vatican Observatory does not own each piece of equipment, nor can it give official names or nicknames to the things it does not own. Another group installed the telescope, nicknamed Lucifer. It's a telescope built by the Max Planck Institute for Extraterrestrial Physics. And according to the Planck Institute website, it stands for LBT, Near Infrared Stereoscopic Utility with Camera and Integral Field Unit for Extragalactic Research. It is noted on the website that due to ultimate backlash that its official abbreviation has been changed to Lucy. And that's all that Catholic.com gives you.
So they have no involvement in this telescope?
No, that's why the whole time I was saying they're next to it. Basically where this is and Lucifer is, there's a bunch, I think NPR said over a dozen like observatories all next to each other, just way out in the desert in Arizona because there's no light pollution.
Yeah, it's perfect for a telescope, for an observatory.
But I just find it funny that when you read trusted sources like NPR, like I was reading another one by I want to say CNN, and then there was also one by the Wall Street Journal, and they all said pretty much the same thing, like the Vatican won't say why they have a telescope in the desert in America.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of random.
They claim it's because they're trying to fuse science with faith, which also is ridiculous because they hate science and science-based people disagree with faith.
Some of them agree. I mean, there's somewhat of a balance
it's a fine line
with certain Catholics and Christians.
But the most funny thing was then towards the bottom of the first page of Google was like Catholic.com, ReligiousAnswers.com.
Mm-hmm.
There's one called, which I sent to myself because the URL was fucking hysterical, Skeptoid.net, the Lucifer Telescope Conspiracy. And basically it says people who aren't religious made up the Lucifer Telescope, even though I just read to you off of an NPR article that this company did it to troll them and it was the whole thing. Yeah. This Skeptoid.com says people are attacking Christians and the telescope doesn't exist, and the only reason the Vatican is out there is because they're trying to find God, like we said in the beginning of the episode. Then he goes on to say, even if they're not strictly trying to find God, they are trying to combine science and faith. And then by the end of the article, he negates himself and says faith is the ultimate education, something along those lines. Like whatever they find, it's a PR move to relate to younger generations or something.
Yeah, it's to modernize them.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. It's to modernize
But
the Catholic
then I
Church.
read the NPR article, which starts out with, the Vatican's been looking to the stars since 16 something.
Mm-hmm. Since forever. Yeah.
So it's like, y'all got to get on the same page, bro.
Well, I mean, I do think I believe that the Catholic Church has been looking at space for a while, and I do think
Which
that
makes
they're trying
sense
to
in
modernize with everything going on. because they're losing a lot of people to just time and
I mean, they
modernism.
lost me real quick.
Did you grow up Catholic?
We went to the Catholic church until I got, what do you get in first grade? Communion?
You get communion, yeah.
So you had to like go back and tell the priest stuff. Like you had to confess your sins.
Confess,
and
yeah,
then
you gotta get confession, yeah.
I said, sometimes I'm mean to my sister.
Yeah, everybody. It's like a number one thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I yelled
And
at
my name starts with M.
Yeah.
So I'm watching these other motherfuckers go up. You know, then they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Done. This fucking guy says 9 Hail Marys.
Just to you?
Yeah.
Just for one confession?
For being
how many
mean to my little sister.
How many did you do? Or
That's all I said.
Oh, wow.
I was a
9
good
Hail
kid.
Marys. And what other what was the punishment for the other kids?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, because you're in the box and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go down. I don't fucking know the Hail Mary. I'm in first grade.
Mm-hmm. You don't know the Hail Mary?
I know the first like 2 lines. So I started with that. But since I was in first grade, I'm like, fuck, if I don't get out 9 Hail Marys, I'm fucked.
I'm going to hell.
So I'm kneeling at this altar for like 20 minutes.
Just like,
They're essentially everyone past M is done.
mm-hmm.
And at that point, I just got up and walked back. My parents were like, what did you do? And I was like, nothing. I told him I was mean to Heather, who was sitting right there. Shouts out Youngblood. But, yeah, after that, I was like, this is kind of horse shit. And then we moved to a Presbyterian church, which I liked a lot more because it's the same idea, but
just light.
you do a lot more actual outreach to like change the world instead of giving these people hundreds of thousands of dollars and not knowing where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And the Presbyterian church is fine, but then as I grew up and like I went to college for sociology and psychology and I started to just like learn stuff pretty quickly. I'd say by like 9th grade, I was like, yeah, no. I'm not an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a whatever it's called,
Agnostic.
like agnostic, like something's out there, but we don't know.
You drink Dr. Pepper?
I mean, it's okay.
From the South Park episode.
Oh, I don't.
Where like
You have this
Cartman.
ability to just like recall shit.
Yeah.
But that's my religious experience. So when he brought this up, I was like, nah.
Yeah, I haven't been to church in a while, but I remember going to confession. I remember going to my first Holy Communion, and I remember having to do like the classes for after school CCD, and then also I would also like for first Holy Communion you'd have to go to like a class after school as well. It was once a week for like I think a month. So it was like
I had to do that because I got confirmed in the Presbyterian church, which was in 9th grade.
Yeah, I got confirmed in my church.
Yeah, and I had to do the once a week you meet with like this mentor who's like, God is good, and you're like, I'm just trying to smoke some weed, dude. Sure.
It's like, yeah, dude, I'm just trying to not go to hell.
Yeah.
Or that, and like I mostly did it too, just to like it's for your family. It's not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember getting confirmed. And it was okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
But I remember with my communion or for my confession thing, I think I said that I like threw my PlayStation controller on the ground and it broke and I was mad. And then I also yelled at my sisters.
Oh God.
And then
you must have had to say 8 billion Hail Marys.
I think I said like I forget what my punishment was. It was probably just like, yeah, say 2 Hail Marys, not even 9 or 8.
Well, I went in there like it like scarred me, dude, because I went in there thinking like I'm just scared of going to hell. I don't really believe in this shit to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little mean to my sister from time to time. I'll get like 1 or 2 Our Fathers, which I know. And then this motherfucker hit me with 9 Hail Marys, dude. Like, what do you think I'm doing to my fucking sister? Yeah.
You're a heathen.
I am a heathen towards Heather. Sorry, Youngblood. I call her Youngblood now.
Why Youngblood?
I don't know.
She's your younger sister?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just started calling her Youngblood in like junior year of high school, and I've called her it since. All right, let's sign out. I'm gonna call Kollin and include him in the this has been thing. So we'll probably cut this part out. Concluding thoughts on the Catholic Church owning a telescope. It's fucking weird. Am I right, boys?
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're spying on the Mormons, definitely.
I love that theory. We're gonna go with that.
Yeah, I like Dan's thoughts.
Maybe that can we'll make a whole thing and do it, and not next week. Next week we should do something less religious.
And we're living in an alternate universe. I believe that now.
We could do that one with you.
Now I'm thinking about that.
If you like that, we could do
stuck.
that next week.
Oh, we could definitely do that next week.
Anyway, this has been
A Couple Pints Pod.
It's safe to say
We're out.
peace, motherfuckers. Oh wait, Colin, say that again.
We love you all.
Okay, peace, motherfuckers. Bye, Colin. Love you.
Bye. Love you guys.
Bye.
All right, cut.